What's going on, folks? Ike here, and it's time for another fragrance review. Today I'm going to be reviewing Superman by Al-rehab. Al-rehab is a Middle Eastern fragrance house. They're known for putting out a lot of these fragrance oils. Some of them are clones of other fragrances, some of them are originals, but they have a ton of stuff. I'd say they have hundreds of different flavors of fragrance oils. This Al-rehab Superman is one of them. It starts off with a ton of clove, some mint. It's very green and herbal. It's almost overwhelming at first. It's got a touch of sweetness from a honey note. It smells like honey to my nose. In the beginning, it's just a strong dose of honey and clove. Then it starts opening up. It reveals a really strong leather and smoke vibe. It's like a smoky leather vibe. And it's very masculine, very long lasting. I get like at least 12 hours. So the projection, I would say, is with this one is pretty strong. But yeah, when you first roll this on, it's a little overwhelming because all the notes are hitting you all at once. And it's hard to separate it all. But in about 20 minutes, it opens up a very herbal, clove, mint, pepper, spicy, sweet honey note, which is very reminiscent of the 70s. I think in the 70s, honey notes were actually kind of popular in fragrances. Now today, it's more, people go more for the bubblegum versus the honey. And honestly, I would take the honey over the bubblegum any day. It just smells more natural than the new bubblegum fragrances that are out there today. So it's got a honey note to it, and in the base, it's like a really good dose of leather and woods. So it's a very masculine scent. Like when I first smelled it, I thought it smelled somewhat like One Man Show by Jacques Bogart. And there's a lot of people that say this smells like Jacamo de Jacamo, which I'm not familiar with. That's a fragrance that I've never tried before and I don't even own. But they say it smells like Jacamo de Jacamo. And if I could put this one in layman's terms, I want to describe this to you in layman's terms. This smells like a 1970s car. It just gets all those smells. There's like an ashtray smell from it. And then in the 70s, people loved to smoke, and those ashtrays always had a cigarette or two in there. So you had like an ashtray kind of smoky vibe, leather, woody, kind of herbal scent. It was like you're in a 70s car with one of those pine tree air fresheners hanging from the rear view mirror. So that took me straight back to then, because I'm kind of an older cat, and I could remember being driven around in an old 70s vehicle. And it reminds me of one of those. It's like you're driving in a 70s vehicle, like one of those big heavy metal vehicles with leather seats, and it's got one of those pine tree air fresheners, because when those pine tree air fresheners first came out, there was really only one scent. It was just pine, and that's it. And it also has like a smoky leather. It just takes me back into one of those old cars. It also has like certain tar note to it, which is kind of like adds to the whole experience of being like in an old school 70s car. And I thought it smelled like One Man Show by Jacques Bogart. I noticed that there's oud in this also. And then I noticed there's also a Jacques Bogart One Man Show oud edition, which I don't own. So maybe this is a clone of Jacques Bogart's oud edition. But a lot of people online say that this is a clone of Jacamo de Jacamo. I've never really tried Jacamo de Jacamo. I've never smelled it, so I can't comment on that. But all in all, this is actually a very good old school powerhouse fragrance, under $3. So the way I apply these oil rollers, the way I apply them is I take each arm and I just put like one bracelet on each arm, like a little circle, and I put an X here and an X there, and that's it. That's how I apply it. That little application of Superman is enough to last you all day. If collecting fragrances is your hobby, you owe it to yourself to try some of these oils. They're very cheap, they're great for layering, or some of them are just great standalone fragrances. They got a lot of good clones. I don't work for Al-rehab. I just discovered them on my own, and my first videos that I made were actually all Al-rehab videos because there was like no information on them online, and those videos were actually really bad because I had no idea what I was doing. So this is Superman is one I never reviewed before because I got another batch of Al-rehabs like a while back that I haven't got a chance to review. And I think this one's worth reviewing. It's a very powerhouse, old school, masculine. It feels like you're sitting in a 1970s vehicle with leather seats and a pine tree air freshener, dirty ashtrays. The whole experience is rather surreal. If you're an older guy like me, it's going to take you back to those times. I don't know how a younger person would react to that because I don't think their nose ever experienced it, sitting in a 1970s vehicle. And that's all I got for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll smell you later.